We are live.
You're on the phone with your girlfriend. She's upset. She's going up about.
Welcome to the MUEF and EDUBBS show, guys.
Yeah. Is Travis Kelce coming on?
There you go. See? I wanted to start the show off with a little.
I'm in my room. It's a typical Tuesday night. I'm listening to
This is one of my cheesy songs that I like.
It's on your rotation, Rich?
Your story like I do.
Now, this is going to lead to our first topic that I want to get into, really. But we're going to get to the chorus first.
Okay, one sec. Just let me.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Come
Let's
on,
go.
go. Get it.
You want me to dance?
All right, everybody.
I don't dance, Rich. As a matter of fact,
You belong with me.
my favorite
All
song.
right,
ever
guys.
is
Welcome
Dance.
to the MUEF and EDUBBS show. Now, listen, I started the show off with a little song. Now, Eve, you know who that song is?
Yeah, Taylor Swift, of course.
Taylor Swift. And I have to be honest with you. That
Or
song
Taylor
right there-
Kelce. Taylor Kelce.
Yes, I have to be honest with you. And that song is actually a favorite in the Murphy house. Now, the reason why is, well, this is going to be real quick. The reason why I started off our show tonight with the Taylor Swift song is I have to make a public apology to Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Now, I don't think like I said, I don't know why I was even mad at this whole situation. I don't know if you're sick of it or anything still, but
No.
I don't even know why I was mad.
Yeah, I have a comment on it too, Rich, but I'll let you give yours first.
Well, like I said, and what was the turning point for me was when Travis Kelce's maniac brother, Jason Kelce, jumped like a lunatic, smashing beers on his forehead, going crazy, yelling and screaming. And he grabbed that little girl and he brought that little girl up to her, and the camera was on her the whole time. She didn't even skip a beat, dude. Like it wasn't even time for her to kind of roll her eyes or anything. Like, that little girl went up there, dude, and she didn't skip a beat, man. She's all in with this shit, dude. I know it's got to be awesome for her. Listen, she's the biggest star in the world. She doesn't need the NFL.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Exactly.
But I was so hell-bent on saying, oh, Travis Kelce's a pussy and this, that, and the other thing. Now, listen, I don't know about you, but I heard somebody the other day say something that made a lot of sense to me. They've only been together about 6 months. Maybe Travis Kelce hasn't been playing that good because maybe she kind of, I guess, I don't know how you say it. It's the children's show, that maybe she consummated the relationship and Travis Kelce went out and had 12 freaking catches last week, dude. Well, I just have to make a public apology to the Swifties. We are welcome to watch the NFL. The Super Bowl is coming up, and me and EDUBBS are going to give our picks later. So I'm all in with the Taylor Swift stuff now, dude.
Yeah, definitely, Rich. I mean, I don't know why America is bullying Taylor Swift. What did she do to you guys? Not to you, Rich, but it's just the fact that everyone sits behind a keyboard and types, and nobody wants to confess what they're typing. Most of the people don't even put their names on social media what they're typing. So I called it in 2020 when COVID first came out. It's cowards behind keyboards, and it's not only the people who are afraid of COVID, it was people that are against COVID. So everyone's fighting each other. You're seeing 200 comments on these threads, and it's just like there's no winners and stuff like that. If you don't have something good to say, don't put it out on social media. It stays there forever, and it's going to get scrutinized. Hey, I put out today that I don't like hummus for the Super Bowl. It's a girl food. Whatever, Rich. I'm gonna sing show tunes. You know what? You guys can hammer me. Amish Outlaw said there's one with jalapeno and cilantro, which, okay, I'm in on that. But you know what? For the Super Bowl, it's got to be like some type of beef. It's got to be off an animal. Hummus isn't off an animal, Rich.
I am, like I said, I am living with an unbelievable chef. Uh-oh. What happened, E? Your Wi-Fi go again? Look at that picture.
Did my Wi-Fi go again or what?
Dude, I wish I could have taken a picture because you were just sitting there like,
yeah, you went black. It's like, oh my God, the screen went black. I thought I'm having troubles with Wi-Fi, but I'm sure somebody on YouTube will take that picture. Though,
yeah.
Exactly.
So what were we saying?
What we're saying? Oh yeah, about hummus, right? Is a soybean or something like that, or a chickpea, whatever,
Chickpea. It's crushed up chickpeas. Like I said, I was all against hummus. I like hummus, dude. I don't mind a little piece of pita bread, some hummus. It's a really good snack.
On the Super Bowl. You like hummus, Rich?
No.
Okay, that's what I was talking about. The Super Bowl.
Yes, I am lucky enough to have my son who is very excited about Super Bowl Sunday. So I don't know.
Yeah, if I'm gonna watch the Super Bowl, I'm gonna eat something off an animal. That's what I'm saying. And I'm not going to eat hummus. If I go to a Broadway show, I might get a little hummus on the side, while I sing show tunes, Guys and Dolls, or, West Side Story or something like that. Or I play my piano. Where's my piano? My piano's
I want to
gone.
go see
my piano.
Yeah, it's on the other side. I want to go see West Side Story. What's wrong with West Side Story? I can't go
No,
see
I'm just
that.
saying, when you go to Broadway, hummus is a good snack to have, It's like good.
Yeah, it might be. It might be.
I saw Hamilton. Hamilton was a great play. That was the last play I saw. It was fantastic. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, that's right. Jack went to go see that with his school a couple months ago. In February, I think he went.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Whatever, a couple months ago with his school. And
Yep.
he said it was amazing.
Yeah, so some pretty good shows on Broadway. Yeah. But, I'm not going to take a steak into the theater. I'll just take my little cup of hummus. But when I'm watching football, Rich, it's got to be. But, this year's different, though. This year, Jody's birthday is Super Bowl Sunday. So I have a little problem here, I usually put out what I'm going to eat on Super Bowl Sunday. But it's her birthday, Rich. She makes the choice this year.
So what is that choice going to be, though? If Jody makes the choices, are you guys going to be eating hummus?
We still got a couple of days away, and you're frozen again, Rich. But I'm not going to do anything stupid because
you're frozen. You're frozen. There's something going on your end there, my man. I don't know, EDUBBS. His Wi-Fi is really active.
Here we go. Yeah, I don't know if it's me or you. I don't know. You just go black, and I don't know what happened. But yeah,
it's yours. It's your end.
Geez.
It's all right. Go ahead.
Yeah,
one model throw.
That's okay. You got to love Optimum Online.
So listen, it's Jody's birthday, Super Bowl Sunday. So you kind of got to split your time a little bit. You got to kind of get some food that you like, kind of food that she likes. You got to meet in the middle somewhere. How about you guys meet in the middle with dessert? And you got to eat. How about you get yourself like a big piece of like a porterhouse or something? And what is she going to eat? Like, what would Jody eat on that day?
Well, we're going to get the cake at Tiramisu. Tiramisu has some pretty good cakes. That's the problem around here, which is really not a good bakery to write home about. I think when you grow up in the city, your expectations are too high, and you move to places like this. And I don't know if it's the water or what, but Tiramisu has some pretty good cakes. So we'll get a nice chocolate ganache cake from there, and then we'll decide when we want to eat. Ben's going to come home to watch the game for her birthday. He doesn't have class till like 2:00 on Mondays, so he'll stay over, spend the night and stuff like that. So that keeps our tradition alive because I always like watching the game with him as well. So
all right. Listen, I don't know if you noticed, what I got behind me there, but I gave, where is it? Like right there. I gave your boys like a little love back there. That's New York Yankee greats up there.
Oh, wow. How'd you get that? Where'd you get that from, Rich?
Somebody got that for Jack. And
nice.
I decided to hang it up down here.
Whereas when I sit in Ben's room, Darryl Strawberry, Tom Seaver, Jerry Kuzman, John Matlack, Felix Mian, maybe Ed Crane pull up. He's got all plaques on his wall from the Mets and stuff that he gets at Seaside Heights. You play those stupid games, you get your points, and then you turn them in at the end of the year, and you get these nice plaques and stuff like that. So,
he knows what he's talking about.
But all right, he's too old for that. He can gamble now. He doesn't need the stupid games anymore. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we're going to talk about our predictions on the Super Bowl later on. What's the prediction for your in the food for the Super Bowl? I know you're not going to have any say. So what are you predicting you're going to eat on the Super Bowl?
I don't know. Maybe a steak or something, Rich. Okay. It definitely has to be takeout because Jody can't walk and she hasn't walked since December, so it has to be takeout and stuff. So.
All right.
But we'll decide. Maybe Italian. There's a good Italian place, Vesuvio's. I don't know if you've heard of it. Newburgh. It's really good. Really good stuff. So we went there for the first time in October, and we've been there 5 or 6 times since. They have a dish called steak pizziola. I don't know if you've ever had that before.
Yeah, Jack was just talking about that.
It's amazing. They make it. Oh my God! So I get that, but we'll figure it out. I'm sure you'll see pictures on social media about it and stuff like that. But let me talk about one thing. I had a doctor's appointment on Friday, and I went to Rosie's Deli. You know Rosie's Deli, Rich?
Rosie's Deli. Which one is that?
It's in Poughkeepsie. It's a famous one in Poughkeepsie. Rosie's. Oh,
I don't think I've ever been there.
Yeah, it's really good. They have one by the doctor's office in Eastdale. They have a little village there with a bunch of shops, and I got the sandwich, best sandwich ever on focaccia. It was a panini with chicken cutlet, Genoa salami, provolone, fresh tomato, and olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. It was a dream come true. As a matter of fact, the sandwich was so huge, I ate one half on Friday, and I eat my other half before 11 o'clock on Saturday because Ben was coming home, and I wanted to steal my sandwich.
Why don't you get one of those things for the Super Bowl?
I think they're closed on Sunday. That's the problem. So, but
you haven't come up on the screen yet.
Who, me?
No, I'm talking to, what do you call it? Cousin Joe is trying to chime in.
Oh, Oh, he's trying to chime in. Oh, yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Nice, nice, nice.
All right. So, like I said, all right. So let's what were you just saying?
So, what are you going to have on the Super Bowl, Rich, to eat?
Well, like I said, Jack's pretty excited about the Super Bowl this year. Like he's all in with the cooking and everything, and he loves to, he loves to, like for instance, Championship Sunday, he made a lasagna all from scratch. Made the ricotta, he had the mozzarella, he made the noodles and everything. So we had Buddy Joe and his Joe Uva came over, and a couple of our friends came over, and we watched the games, and Jack cooked he cooked lasagna. So for Super Bowl, he's making pretzels. That's what he's gonna make. Making pretzels. Maybe we'll have some smash burgers. He's got a good little menu. Like, listen, he likes to watch football. He's in and out of the game, but he even said the other day he likes watching people eat. So he's gonna make some kind of dessert. So we're not ordering takeout at all on Super Bowl Sunday because Jack Murphy is going to be on a roll. He's going to be cooking his ass off. We may even get some boneless wings. That's what he's going to do too. He makes these chicken, these chicken breasts or whatever. They're so good. And he doesn't use breadcrumbs.
Oh,
what he does is he uses flour and he uses an egg, and he just he deep fries them, and it's the most amazing thing I've ever tasted. Makes it sauce. That's probably what we're gonna have a whole bunch of food like that, which is gonna be cooked by
how's the cleanup? How's the cleanup with all that stuff going on in the kitchen?
Listen, I don't mind the cleanup. Like he cooks. Like I said, him and my wife cook, and I don't mind cleaning up because they cook. Everything is everything's from scratch, man.
I'll never forget. My brother was a chef. And now he's a locksmith. You didn't make too much money in the no benefits really in the food industry, but he enjoys it and he does it on the side. But I remember as a teenager, he made fried chicken at my mom's house, mom and dad fried chicken, and he didn't want to clean up. There was flour all over the place and stuff like that. The food was great, but the cleanup was, it takes 15 minutes to eat the meal. It takes 2 hours to clean up, Rich, and stuff like that. But,
I hear you.
But, it's good, and we'll talk about the Super Bowl later. We'll talk about the games and stuff. But real briefly, I don't think anybody cares about the Super Bowl this year, unless if you live in Kansas and Northern California, right? It's crazy.
Yeah, you know what, though? I don't know. This is going to be a good game. I've come to a conclusion, and we'll talk about that when we talk about the NFL, dude. Pat Mahomes is ridiculous, dude. He's just on another level, man. He really is. Like, and and again, we're going to really get into it, but I have a comparison, but like, dude, he is just on another level good. Like the way he just stops on a dime and just floats those, the passes, and he's got no receivers except Kelsey. And he's making these guys. I mean, we'll go into that in a couple of minutes. I don't know. Let's get into the. What do you want? You want to talk about the NFL first?
I just want to talk about the weather. How I nailed it the other day.
I know you had to get that in.
Yeah, I had to get that in because you turn on these country music stations, these local music stations.
Yeah.
I think they're getting the weather from the Daily News from the 3 days before. They put the 3-day forecast in the Daily News, and it said like 6 inches of snow, and I was like, you know what? I said, maybe 3 inches. And then Saturday, I said, you know what? This is just going to be rain, basically. So, I like to say, get your ass to work in school because people think, all these snow days and stuff. I really think they need to give these kids computers at home, let the kids work at home. I understand, you want them to play in the snow and, be kids, but, you haven't had a full day a week in how long with school? It seems like there's a delayed opening. There was a delayed opening the other day for rain, basically. It didn't snow. And I understand in the higher elevations and Wikipedia, there could be some slippery spots for the buses and stuff like that. But I really think, and I know during COVID, the kids got the Chromebooks. And what the kids were doing, they were putting their fists through them and stuff like that, So, they're there. You can't, that's what happens when you get good things, I guess, but, give the kids laptops. What's that?
It's a no-win situation with that. They don't have. They got a no-win
situation. But you know what, though, Rich? I'm kind of jealous because maybe 7 years ago I didn't have a laptop at work, so that meant if it snowed, I didn't go to work, and then they gave us laptops, and we can't hide anymore. So unless you can say the Wi-Fi goes out, which almost
I'm all about a good snow day for the kids. Yeah, and listen, I understand. Like it's just something. Remember how you felt when you were a kid? I know I know there's more these days, I guess, but when you had a snow day, when it was actual snow and you woke up and you knew you didn't have any, that was awesome, dude. That feeling was so cool, man. Like you can remember what was on the radio in the background. It's nostalgic. Snow, like snow days for school is very nostalgic. For me anyway, it's like you wake up and it's snowing ground. It's like, you're not going to school. And like Howard Stern's playing in the background on WNBC or Pimpin' Winds or whatever is playing in the background. And you're like, no school today. And you go outside and you go sleigh riding. I mean, that's a lot of fun, man. That's cool shit, and the kids, my kids go out in the snow. They don't stay in the house all day. Like, if it's snowing outside, like last week, they'll play tackle football with each other.
Well,
outside. So,
yeah, don't laugh.
They help me trouble and everything.
I took the, you said Howard Stern. I took the tour of the NBC radio when they had it was 66 WNBC before FAN took over. And we took the tour, and Soupy Sales. You ever hear of Soupy Sales?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
the old comedian, and he used to tell the kids to take the green piece of paper from your dad's wallet and send it to him. So all these kids were sending him money and stuff like that. And then he had two puppets, and one puppet said F, and the other puppet said K. So the puppet said F, K. How come whenever you say F, well, how come when I say F, you say K, you see K, so you say K, whatever. So, so he used to twist around how to do stuff like that. But so we took the tour, and Soupy Sales on the air, and Stern walked right past us with Robin Quivers. It was pretty cool. I mean, it was just Stern back then, until he's now he's like the god, he's still on too at XM, but believe it or not, it's crazy. But,
he is. He's kind of losing his touch. So
I used to love Stern. I used to love the show.
That was amazing.
I understand he can't say things nowadays, but he said the stuff that was totally off the cusp, basically back then and stuff, But you got to be a snowflake nowadays. You got to watch out what you say. But yes, but getting back to that, we used to wake up. The AM station would have the snow days on it, and they would do it like 10 minutes past the hour and 10 minutes to the hour, and if you missed it, you had to wait like 40 minutes to get.
You heard the name of your school. That's when you were so happy. And they're like,
exactly.
You're so tired in the morning, but they're like, you go back to sleep. But then it's a snow days, you just you run right outside.
Yeah, but now it's like you get Facebook, you get electronic calls. It's like you get or you get EDUBBS making the predictions. That's what you get nowadays.
Exactly.
I replaced AM radio, EDUBBS.
All right, so listen, let's get into let's see what's going on here. I know we got a lot of amount of time here tonight. Do you want to do the NFL first? You want to get into our little tiff about the Hall of Fame?
Well, I was listening the other day. You did the quick hits and stuff, and you're talking about Joe Mauer.
Yes.
And first of all, you said he's a first baseman. You compared him to Keith Hernandez and
I put him in that. I put him in that category because he was a first baseman. I was trying to grind in for a catcher, so I kind of put him in the first baseman category just to compare him to that.
So if he's a first baseman for his career, he does not get in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
But the fact that he was a catcher, right? Mm-hmm. And he did things that no catcher ever did. First of all, Rich, there's only 20 catchers in the Hall of Fame. 20,000 people played the game. There's only 20 catchers in the Hall of Fame.
So there's 20 catchers in the Hall of Fame. So you got to put somebody else in?
Well, no, but what's the most toughest position in baseball, Rich?
Catcher, by far.
By far, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, this guy, 6-time All-Star, 2009 MVP, and he had one of the best seasons ever for a catcher in 2009. His stats the home runs and RBIs not be there, but he missed a full month. I'll get into that. 3-time Gold Glove, 5-time Silver Slugger, and a 3-time AL batting champ as a catcher. Not as a first baseman, as a catcher. So he's the only catcher in MLB history to have 3 batting titles. The only catcher in the American League history to win a batting title. And, we all like the warm, fuzzy stories. He went to school in Minneapolis, St. Paul, wanted to play. Like, you grew up, you wanted to play for the Mets, right? He grew up, wanted to play for the Twins. The Twins drafted him in the first round. They drafted him. He was the first pick of the 2001 draft, I think. So 2006, he batted .347. He beat out Derek Jeter, Robinson Cano. Hit .528 from June 1st to June 10th. And he hit .452 for the month of June that year. Okay. And he became the first catcher to win a batting title in 64 years. Ernie Lombardi won the batting title for the Reds in the 40s. So Mauer did it 64 years later. So here you go. You have a gap between catchers winning. So I guess we can compare catcher to tight end in football, Rich. They're not supposed to put offensive stats on the board or something like that. They're supposed to block, basically, right? I guess even in fantasy baseball, do you pick your catchers? You never pick a catcher, right? Same thing in football. Once the big tight ends go off, you don't pick a tight end and stuff. So you can guess the catcher's the tight end. But 2008, 2007, off year, 2008 comes back, wins another batting title. Okay, now 2009. 2009, he becomes the first catcher to lead MLB in batting average, on base, and slugging. So he did all 3 categories. First catcher ever. The first player to lead in all 3 categories, batting average, on base, and slugging in 30 years. George Brett was the last one to do that. Okay. 365 batting average. Highest batting average for a catcher since 1901. So we're talking 108 years, Rich, basically,
Yeah.
He had a hip injury in spring training that year. He didn't join the Twins till May 1st. So he comes to May 1st, hits .414 in the month with 11 home runs and 32 RBIs in 28 games in May alone. The Twins trailed Detroit by 7 games heading into September. He led the team. They won 17 out of the last 21 games, won the division with a game 163. Now, here's where it gets, Rich. 1,858 games. So he kind of like split between catcher and first base, but he still hit 306, had 1,018 runs, 428 doubles, only 143 home runs, 923 RBIs, on base percentage of .388, a slugging percentage of .439, a fielding percentage of .995 as catcher, and .996 as first base. 5 5-hit games in his career, 23 4-hit games. The concussions forced him to first base, and here's where the debate comes in, Rich, because if he played first base for his career, he does not get in the Hall of Fame. But because he did all this as a catcher, and that his numbers as catcher compared to all the other catchers in the Hall of Fame, that's why he made the Hall of Fame. Now, he made the Hall of Fame on the first go around, which, okay, people might not agree about that, but he only got 76% of the votes. He needs 75. It's not like he got the 95% or the Mariano Rivera's 100%, which he was never going to get. But you know what? He was going to get in eventually, basically.
See, now look, now you just said something there which proves to me that the Hall of Fame voting is a farce, dude. It's a farce. You just said something right there. Mariano Rivera at his position might be one of the most dominating players at his position ever. Why does one guy just got to say no?
Oh, yeah. Well, it happened with
Tom
Tom
but that's
Seaver,
what I mean.
Rich, it happened with Tom Seaver. It happened with Tom Seaver, too. Because you know what? He had a fight with Dick Young from the Post. And that's why Dick Young didn't vote for him.
But again, that's wherein lies. Look, I know you rattled. I saw all the, I know he was a really good player. Joe Mauer played 15 years for the same team, Minnesota. He was a really, really good player. I just think that we're watering down certain aspects of what the Hall of Fame is supposed to be, dude, because the fact of the matter is, I understand what you said about him being a catcher, but I'm surprised at you because you don't compare him to your boy Thurman Munson. He died at 32 years old with an MVP, Rookie of the Year. What else did he have here? 7-time All-Star. He had fucking 113 home runs, only 30 less than Joe Mauer in a 15-year career. I mean, how do you look and say, all right, we got to put a catcher in? So if that's that's the criteria that they were going, we need to put a catcher in. And you're looking at the other guys, like you could say Ted Simmons, Joe Torre, whatever. Well, but that's going way back.
You hit the nail on the head, Rich. With Ted Simmons getting in, I think Munson eventually gets in because Munson, way better stats than Simmons. I mean, I was shocked when Simmons got in, and you still have these guys from the 70s, Rich. You got Dave Parker, you got Fred Lynn, you got Dwight Evans.
But I'm just talking. Listen, I'm just talking about
Rich. Even Kenny Lofton's a Hall of Famer, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah, like I said, me personally, I just kind of think like that. What I'm saying is, if you got to put a catcher and put a guy like him in, he died at 32 years old. How much longer would he have played for? His knees were probably a little messed up or whatever. But
that's what happens, Rich. That's what happens.
But that's the thing. So did you hear like anything? And I was serious when I said about the fact that I think it's flawed because of the fact is like who's voting on this. I just really do. I'm like, why do those guys get to vote on players' performances, as they say, which they're not voting on their performance, dude. You obviously, if you look on that field, that guy is a really good baseball player. Okay, fine. So why does some sports writer got to say that Mariano Rivera doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame just because you got to be that douche to say no, or Derek Jeter doesn't, or Ken Griffey Jr. That's where it becomes flawed. I don't know if you heard what I said. Is like, why can't you get a committee of of guys that are in the Hall of Fame right now, or like that are alive, and make a committee, or maybe I don't know, old coaches or something, and get some kind of committee together and vote on the way they played the game of baseball, not as if they were a douche or if they're whatever. Hall of Fame is for an outstanding player, outstanding performance. I read the definition on the podcast. So look, Joe Mauer, outstanding, maybe, yeah, he was pretty outstanding, but Hall of Fame, like guys that are in the Hall of Fame now, it's like, and they were really good. And it really comes to the point where I'm thinking to myself as a Met fan, right? So I have Mike Piazza. No, I don't. Mike Piazza was a Dodger. Yeah, this is how I'm thinking. You know what I mean? I'm even thinking Hall of Famers. I'm thinking good players. Keith Hernandez is in the Hall of Famer, but he's a Cardinal also. Gary Carter's an Expo also. It's like the fucking Yankees have 10. Their top 10 players are the top 20 players to ever play baseball, dude. So the fact of the matter is, it's like if you get a hard on about somebody just because he has an attitude, But like Albert Bell and Manny Ramirez are Hall of Famers, dude. I'm sorry, they're Hall
And
of Fame.
Gary Sheffield too. Gary
Sheffield is a Hall of Famer, dude. Don't even talk to me about Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds because that just goes beyond. A-Rod got 38% of the votes, okay? That means people are thinking. So why can't other people say, you know what, though? This guy's saying, why not give A-Rod 75%? He's the greatest shortstop ever picked up a baseball glove, dude. And I'm talking defensively and offensively. The guy all around is top 10 baseball player ever to play baseball. I don't know if you agree with me. And he's, look, on the outside looking in, I guess at this point they don't care. You can say the same thing about Pete Rose. I know you feel, but I'm not even going to get into Pete Rose. But I am going to get into the point where these guys, Alex Rodriguez is a Hall of Famer. Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds, they're Hall of Famers, dude. How could you put people in like Harold Baines and look yourselves in the mirror when steroids saved the major leagues in 1996 with Mark McGwire and everybody smashing home runs? So you spit in their faces by them saving the game of baseball because of the strike, and now you don't let them into the Hall of Fame when you know there was more. And there's people in the Hall of Fame right now that did steroids, dude. And it's that's why it's a farce to me, dude. I'm sorry. And that's why I understand your point. I really do. But there's other players that deserve it. And maybe if we don't have anybody this year to go in, Omar Vizquel is on the ballot next year, dude. Listen, 12 gold gloves. Didn't bat over. He batted 230 for his career. He's not in the Hall of Fame. If he gets into the Hall of Fame, I mean, I know I ranted again, dude. And it's just, this is how I feel. It's like, you've got to be outstanding to get into the Hall of Fame.
I think Mauer was outstanding at his position. I mean, if he didn't have the concussions and stuff and continued being catcher,
you do make a good point for him. You really do. You do make a very good point for him. You do,
Rich. I mean, I remember you put my son behind the plate. That's grueling. I mean, you put the gear on him. I mean, and he's strong. He was sweating like a dog when he came off that field, you know. Yeah. And I understand Mauer didn't play 162 games at catcher a year. Of course not. He's going to have to play. Nobody can play 162 games at catcher. But you know. Even Johnny Bench, towards the end of his career, played third base, first base. Yeah. Pudge Rodriguez played a lot at catcher. He played over like 22,000 games, Rodriguez.
Yadier Molina, too. Molina,
too, yeah. But, you know, I take it a step back. You talked about Harold Baines. How about last year, Scott Rowland, right?
Scott Rowland is not – yeah, exactly. He's not a Hall of Famer. I mean, you know, then there's guys –
You know what, though? If you have a list, Rich, and you're saying just for the sake of it, we have to name somebody, then don't name somebody. That's it. Skip a year.
Okay, yeah, but you know what, though? Then they can't have their ceremony, and they can't have this. And people who made promises 5 years ago, and they can't – I don't know, man. I just think
that the NFL. Look at the NFL. What does the NFL put in? Like 8, 9, 10 players a year or something like that. Are they legitimate Hall of Famers?
Comparatively, I mean, we could go into that one day. Like who got into the Football Hall of Fame last year? Do you remember?
Not Dan Campbell.
All right, yeah, I know. Yeah, just give me 1 second. You know, talk here. We're going to talk about Dan Campbell in a second too.
Yeah, but you know, that's what I think. I think you know, you had your first ballot Hall of Famers, Johnny Bench and Pudge Rodriguez, and now Joe Mauer. But you know, Pudge played 2,400 games at catcher, Bench 1,700 games, and Mauer less than 1,000. But you know, the concussions, he had some really bad ones too. He's only 40 years old, Rich. He kept on playing too and stuff, right. But he had to retire young. You know, it's just your head just gets messed up. And he was also the 4th first-round draft pick to get in. Griffey, Chipper Jones, your favorite Harold Baines, and now Joe Mauer and stuff. And he's the first Hall of Fame player to play his entire career in the 21st century. So that's something to look at. So
all right, well, look, all right, here, let's go here. Okay. All right, look. Last year's NFL Hall of Fame was DeMarcus Ware.
Okay.
Zach Thomas.
Yep.
Joe Thomas. Darrelle Revis. Rondé Barber. Chuck Howley. These are all the guys. Joe Klecko. Ken Riley is an older guy. Don Coryell. Those guys are Hall of Famers.
Pretty much. Yeah, why is it Mark Gastineau at Hall of Fame? You think Gastineau would have been in the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah. And then you look at these. Like, these are guys who just got in. Tony Baselli, like Sam Mills. You know what, though? When you think football is maybe just a different animal. You know what I mean? It's like
could be.
Like,
you know, I think because we agree that baseball is the number one sport. You know, all the history and stuff with baseball and going back almost way over 100 years and stuff like that. So, but it is what it is. And next year we got Ichiro, so he'll definitely be a first ballot.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, Ichiro. I'm sorry. What I think you were saying, Shohei Ohtani.
Oh yeah,
Ichiro
no.
is a
And C. Sabathia too, who should be in the Hall of Fame as well.
Yeah, I was thinking about Sabathia, but yes, he is definitely a Hall of Famer.
And if you look at the stats, Rich, I mean, I know he's associated with the steroids and stuff, but Andy Pettit had a pretty good damn career as well. If you look at numbers,
I don't think him or Messina. I just don't think that they're. I'm sorry, Eric. I just don't think they're.
No, Messina definitely, because Messina's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I know he is. I know he is.
Okay, here's what you got to do. Homework assignment. Mike Messina, Jim Palmer. Their stats are identical. So identical that people thought they were identical twins, basically. Their numbers are right. They're the same. They're the same. Right. Except Jim Palmer wore the underwear better than Messina did. But look up the stats. Look up the stats, Rich, on that. You'll be fascinated.
What was amazing about Jim Palmer too is he was part of like one of the best pitching staffs ever. Like,
definitely. And Messina was like one batter away from pitching a perfect game, and Carl Everett stepped on home plate, and in that Red Sox game. But Messina was a pretty good pitcher, and he deserved it. But yeah, I mean, we'll sit here every year, Rich, and have the same argument because there's always going to be, and we agree that Adrian Beltre gets in. 3,000 hits is your ticket to get in, basically.
Yeah.
Unless if you're A-Rod or something like that, right?
Yeah. Again, I'm just going to play devil's advocate.
Rich, they want to shorten the season to 130 games. I was reading they don't want to play games on Mondays and Thursdays, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if they do that, they'll never be a 3,000 guy again. Never. If they do that.
Let's what do you call it? Let me ask Google something here, and then I'm going to retort what you said.
Using AI or Google?
Yeah, I just
use, we get AI do a podcast one day. You know that, right?
No, I would never let that happen.
Because we answer to the higher standard.
2,000 hits. Let's see, hold on a second.
Who are you looking up?
All right, 2015. Okay.
Who's that?
A-Rod. A-Rod, and how many years was A-Rod in the league in 2015? 15 years. All right. That's my point. All right. Adrian Beltre, I guess, is a Hall of Famer. He got 3,000 hits in 23 seasons. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I guess you could, if you're a player that's been playing, competitively all the time. I guess he's a Hall of Famer. I guess. I mean, but the other two guys, Mauer, I guess you made a good point from Todd Helton's not a Hall of Famer.
But and there's another problem now. You got guys starting later in their career. So look at Pete Alonso and Aaron Judge. They didn't start playing till like 24, 25. They're going to have a hard time getting the Hall of Fame, these two.
I think they're both. I don't think that either one of them are, because I think the fact of the matter is they're going to be so dominating for such a short period of time. Or whatever they are,
mm-hmm.
Hurt or something like that.
But that means Juan Soto is going to get a free pass because he started at 19, basically, if he keeps it up.
Yeah, I know. But if you think about it, like Aaron Judge is so like for him to play with that body type, for him to play at that high level for like 15 years, dude, it's just he couldn't do it. Pete Alonso either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Crazy.
We might be Pete Alonso. I don't know. Pete Alonso may not even be a Met in July or next week, or I don't know what the hell's going on with him. The Mets are a wreck, dude. It's, I would love to sit here and talk and say that my team made some moves. I mean, listen, the Yankees, I think the Yankees are going to win the division next year. I mean, they just,
let me talk about the Mets for a second. Honestly, though, you had Steve Cohen come on board, right, from the Wilpons. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Uncle Steve's going to spend all this money. He spends the money, he has to trade the guys. It seems like it's Wilpons 2.0 again, version 2.0, basically. It doesn't seem like he's a baseball. I don't. It's hard to gauge. Is he like a fan or just like spending money? It's hard to tell, but he seems like he's Jerry Jones all of a sudden. He's like running the team, basically.
Yeah, I know. I don't even know what's going on there. I really don't, because, let's rewind, with Steve Cohen. Okay. Sure. Guy said, I'm going to spend money. I'm a Mets fan, rah, rah, rah. He spent money. I mean, he did, like, he went out and got Lindor, which I love Lindor. Listen, you got anybody in MLB can say what they want about Lindor. I think Lindor is a top 25 player. I think just all around, and I think he gets a lot of shit or whatever. I don't know, whatever. But I like Lindor. I think Alonso is it's paramount that he stays on the Mets. I think because of the fact that he's got if he's not in that building, unless Alvarez is really young, he could probably become that big personality. But if Pete Alonso is not in that building to get that big home run, it's like it just takes away so much of like what goes on at Citi Field. Just think about like, well, being a Met fan and not hearing the trumpets with Diaz coming in, and all of a sudden it's like, so it's the same thing with Pete Alonso. Like if Pete Alonso doesn't stay with the Mets, like going to that stadium is like, who's going to be that guy that gets up and listen, he could strike out, but chances are he might hit a 500-foot home run and like win the game. Who's going to do that?
You need the face of the franchise. That's why if the Yankees would have lost Judge last year after free agency, we wouldn't have that face of the franchise. Really, basically,
I see with the Mets. Like I think it's just as important for the New York Mets to get somebody like, let's just say Justin Turner's gone, like JD Davis, let's say, or somebody like that, to kind of protect Pete. It's just as important as the Jets should have gotten a backup quarterback this year. I think it's just as important for the Mets. They have to get a big bat or a threatening bat in that lineup. Even somebody that could go in there and hit 40 home runs, but hit 220. It doesn't matter. A threat of a home run, I guess, to protect Pete Alonso. Because his numbers are going to stay stagnant because that he's figured out. You know what I mean? They're going to throw him all the shit. He's going to strike out because they know they got McNeil afterwards, or they got hey, Nimmo's coming up to bat. He might hit a home run, but chances are he's going to fly out. You know what I mean? So the Mets don't have anything menacing. Like even Max Scherzer is gone as a pitcher. Like he pitched like shit this year, but at least he got up there. And for 1 or 2 innings, he was like looking pissed off. The Mets have no attitude. That's Lindor and Alonso Alonso has to stay just for that perspective, to have the attitude. The Mets need some kind of attitude, and they have to get something. They have to pick somebody up this year just to get a bat, and then if that's what it is, I guess then that's what it is or whatever. But I have to think that he's going to be in on Soto next year. But what I'm saying though is like, if the Yankees win 95 games this year and losing the championship, you think Soto is going to go sign a contract somewhere else, dude? Even, you know what I mean? Like, what if they don't make the play? The only way Soto is going to sign somewhere else if the Yankees have a severely bad year and they don't even make the playoffs again like this year. And Soto's like, yo, what the hell did I sign up for? We're all fighting. I am going to go somewhere else. And the Mets swoop in like Superman, and they offer him $600 million. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I think I'm going to go the route of that Met fan. It's always like, oh, wait till next year. It's like, yeah, wait till next year. Let's see what happens,
Jeez, yeah, it's kind of, and then you look at the Bronx. I mean, the Yankees were going to spend all this money, and they were going after Yamamoto, and that Yamamoto takes the Dodgers gold, and what have the Yankees done? The Yankees brought in Stroman, but Stroman's not a number one. He's a number 3 or 4. He's not your number one guy. Rondon has to come back and pitch like he did with the White Sox and the Giants. We saw what happened to him last year, and Nasty Nestor, if he comes back healthy. Yankees pitching staff could be pretty good, actually, if all these pieces fall into place. And then you mentioned the protection of the lineup. Don't forget, we were without Judge last year, like a month and a half almost, and we still managed to win 84 games. So think about healthy Judge and a healthy Soto in the lineup. I heard them say Soto might bat first. I don't know how that's going to work out, but you're going to have Judge bat second, and Stanton lost some weight, but we know Stanton's always going to be prone to an injury. So, we need that full year from Stanton, or hopefully we could trade him somewhere. Just take him. I saw.
I'll take him. Honestly, I'm not even kidding around. I would love to have Giancarlo.
Yeah, you got definitely.
Just having him in the lineup, dude, is going to be protection for Pete Alonso. Just putting him up, have him play 130 games at DH.
Stanton will never play 130 games. Maybe that 4 years to play 130 games.
Maybe.
But I'm hoping that. Him losing this weight, he looks pretty good, actually. I don't know if you saw pictures of him. He looks pretty good, looks in shape and stuff. But the one thing I don't like is DJ LeMahieu at third base. I think, we had Donaldson last year. Then LeMahieu came, and stuff. He got healthy. Donaldson was gone. And Chapman's not the answer. Chapman's just going to be another version of Donaldson. So I don't know. I would have liked to see Turner, but, I think the Yankees – all these guys are signing. Spring training's 2 weeks away, but look at the pitchers, Rich. Snell won the Cy Young, and Montgomery pitched great for the Rangers. These guys are still free agents on the market. Scott Boras products, of course. We know with the Boras, but where are these guys going to go? Spring training. It's January 30th. Pitchers and catchers report in 2 weeks, for heaven's sakes.
I know. I know we've had this conversation before. I know Blake Snell won the Cy Young. I understand that, but I don't. He can't pitch more than 5 innings, dude. Like I understand, like he's got great stuff, but I don't see the big draw with him. You know what I mean? Because if you don't have anybody coming in, if you don't have a bullpen, he doesn't win the Cy Young.
No,
just because the fact like he only pitches like 5 innings, dude. Like I don't think he's got the stamina. I mean, he's a great pitcher for 5 innings, and I think that they know that, so that's when he gets pulled or whatever. But I don't know. I wouldn't touch him, to be honest with you. I don't like him.
They offered him 6 years, $150 million. He didn't take it. And apparently there's no other offer on the table for anybody. So does he go back to the Yankees and say, I'll take it now? I'm the Yankees, I say, hell no. We offered it for you. Go. You're done, you know? I don't know what happens. He kind of like worked himself out on the market, basically.
Yeah,
and he won
guess
two Cy Youngs he won.
Yeah, that's right. He won 2 Cy Youngs. Oh my God. Yes, I just don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I really don't. So
did you see Aaron Hicks sign with the Angels? Did you see that?
Oh.
You know who's paying Aaron Hicks?
Ohtani's gone. Bring in Aaron Hicks.
The Yankees are paying $19 million. So the Yankees are paying his salary to play with the Angels and stuff like that. Yeah. No Ohtani. Yeah. Let's bring in Aaron Hicks. There's the replacement and stuff. But, you know,
exactly.
It's like the good and the ugly this year. You know, it's going to be good teams and bad teams. You're going to see teams. You might see five or six teams lose 100 games. I mean, some of these teams didn't even get involved in the offseason, it seems, you know. Pittsburgh got Aroldis Chapman. That's their big signing. Yay. What's Aroldis Chapman going to do in Pittsburgh? It just shows that the owner went out and spent money basically on here's $10 million. Come pitch for us. You know, Joey Gallo. Where'd Joey Gallo go, to the Nationals? I mean, you know, it's crazy. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's the thing. Like now that, you know, these guys bounce around because, you know, they could hit a couple of home runs in the beginning of the season. You know, let's say Joey Gallo hits 15 home runs before July. They're like, we're keeping the lineup, you know. Like those guys are always going to have jobs if they hit home runs because that's what everybody wants to see right now.
Because they'll get traded at the trade deadline too. They'll get, you know, if you're hitting 20 home runs, oh, wow, I need a left-hand hitter. Joey Gallo gets traded for minor leaguers. And, you know, these teams just keep building up their minor leaguers, you know, trading away their talent and stuff. But you know, it just, you know, I'm pretty excited baseball's going to start. It starts on the 20th of March because I think the Dodgers and Padres play in South Korea. So they have 2 games in Korea.
Eric, I'm calling it now. And I don't think the Dodgers are going to win the World Series this year.
Yeah, no.
I think they're going to be a victim of circumstance again. They're going to win probably maybe. They might break a record for wins this year. I'm not saying they're not going to do that. But you know what, though? Somebody's going to swoop in. Like, let's say the Giants get a little better this year or one of these teams, the Padres, maybe they, you know, without Soto there or whatever, maybe they're kind of like, you know, maybe they're getting, their mojo back.
What about the Atlanta Braves?
Oh, even the Atlanta Braves. I'm just saying, like anybody in that division, you know, could be. Who's the Arizona Diamondbacks? They're a year removed from being a really good surprise team. Why can't they? So they're going to win a lot of games this year. They absolutely are. They got the best on paper. They're the best team in history. You know what I mean? If you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, once that playoff mentality turns on, you know, are they still going to be able to maintain it? Where's Cody Bellinger going to go? Why?
He's out there too. Yeah, it's crazy.
I would like Cody Bellinger on the Mets.
Yeah, why not? Right?
Take a shot with him.
These guys are getting blackballed for some reason. You know, they're not getting signed. And God, can you imagine if April goes by and these guys aren't signed yet? Do you believe that?
Yeah, no, I couldn't. I couldn't. I don't know.
Wow.
Well, like I said, I'm excited. It's going to be starting soon. You know, there's our sport. You know.
Yeah, definitely. Always good to watch. You know, it's always hope springs eternal. Everyone's 0-0 April 1st. And then after April 1st, that big marathon. And it takes us all the way. And it's good. The warm weather will come too and stuff. Yeah. And, you know, we're already done with January. January sped right by, Rich. It always speeds right. It's the fastest month, it seems. You know, you have the holidays and then January and wow, we're right into February already. We get the extra day this year with leap year. So, you know, baseball it will be here before we know it. First, the NCAA tournament. But, you know, first the Super Bowl, though. We got a week off this week. Next week, the Super Bowl. So
Yes. Now, there's let's go into the football now because I got a couple things we got to bounce around. I don't know. Listen, you pick. You want to do the Chiefs in Baltimore or the Niners and the Lions first? What do you want to do first?
We could do the first game. So the first game was the Ravens and the Chiefs and stuff. And, you know, the whole country was basically rooting for Baltimore, Rich, because nobody wanted Pat Mahomes to be back in the Super Bowl. I think it's 4 out of 5 years now. I think only Joe Burrow, the Bengals, made that 1 year. But the only team to beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, Rich, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you know?
Yes,
so,
yes.
And, you know, they came out and said that in order for the Chiefs to win against Baltimore, they have to play like when Tampa Bay played them in the Super Bowl. And, boy, the defense rose to the occasion on Sunday for the Chiefs. Their defense got much better over the years, too. This is probably the best defense they've ever had. You know, Baltimore – they kind of threw the game away. The tempers, Lamar Jackson, I think a baby on the field. They're number one running in the league and how many times they rush on? They're totally out of their game plan on Sunday. It didn't make any sense.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, stupid penalties killed them. Just, they played to lose Baltimore, basically, it seems.
See, I'm listening. It's not a notion that nobody's been talking about, but I immediately thought of this notion when I saw Lamar Jackson throw that perfect pass in the 1st quarter.
Yep.
He threw the guy over, whoever it was trying to
sack him. You see all the time he had, too? He had all the time in the world.
I think Pat Mahomes, without a doubt, got in his head. Now, this is why. Not calling him up and breaking balls. Pat, look, we're going to go over this in a couple of minutes. So obviously we're talking about it now. Pat Mahomes is the perfect quarterback, dude. Now, Lamar Jackson is probably going to get the MVP. Okay. Now, listen, that's in his head too. Now, they say he's the greatest running quarterback ever. He runs, he's a running quarterback, but he doesn't want to be a running quarterback, dude. And that showed big time in this game against the Chiefs. Because I think that when they came out in the second half, if they game planned, because I think that their first quarter game plan was to watch the run. So I think that that defensive coordinator picked up on the fact that, listen, Mahomes isn't looking to, Lamar Jackson's not looking to run. He's looking to pass. There were numerous times where Lamar Jackson 6 or 7 weeks ago or whatever would have taken off running for a 50-yard run or whatever. He was looking for that pass the whole time, I think, to his detriment. And I think that guy, what's his name, Flowers, if he scores there, that it might be a different game, I guess. I don't know.
But, definitely.
But I really, really think, Eric, that if it comes down to, you could have said that Baltimore would have did this and maybe would have been closer or whatever. Let's say the field goal. Let's say they kicked the field goal. Let's say that whatever. Pat Mahomes would have absolutely figured out how to get their kicker somewhere where they could win on a field goal, or he would have ran in for a touchdown. He would have, because you know why? Eric, he is right now in the prime of his career right now, and he is already probably the top 5 quarterbacks ever to play the game of football. And when he's done, you know how I feel about Tom Brady doing it. And I did a little comparison, which isn't fair. But at their same time, Pat Mahomes is light years ahead of Brady was at this time.
Yeah,
light years, not even close.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they played against each other, and Brady beat him in the Super Bowl, obviously. But we're witnessing a guy right now that I think at any point in time, if he turns it on, he could do anything he wants on that football field. And that goes to, did you see the pass that he threw to Travis Kelce? The one where he was going down and he just kind of foot out,
like a rainbow shot. Yep.
Into his hands.
Crazy.
And that wasn't by accident, dude. That wasn't like he just threw the ball up. He knew exactly where he was throwing that football, dude. Mm-hmm. He's one of the most aware football players I think I've ever seen on the football field. Besides Lawrence Taylor, he's another guy who's just aware, but we know why he was aware. But he's one of the absolute most aware football players I've ever seen. And it's like, you watch him, Eric, watch him next time there's somebody right behind him. He's gone. And again, that's on purpose. That's not like, he doesn't get lucky all the time. That's the point I'm making. Like we are witnessing right now. We're lucky enough to be able to see Michael Jordan play basketball. I'm literally putting him in the same thing. Like, we're witnessing a Michael Jordan-like athlete right now.
So he definitely could be a GOAT, basically, the greatest of all time.
100%.
And definitely a Hall of Famer, right, Rich? No doubt about it.
Right now he is. Right now.
Of course. Yeah. But, he's got the instinct. I don't know. We've seen it over the years, too. When he came into the NFL, he's been like, I don't know. He's maybe one of the best quarterbacks ever. Comes from a great family. Comes from his dad was a pitcher and stuff, so he's got the DNA of an athlete. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like the Chiefs, they're just like a well-oiled machine all over. They got Pacheco at running back. They didn't have, they lost Devontae Adams, which I thought would have been a downfall. But look at that. They won the Super Bowl last year, and they're going for the second in a row this year. Definitely a dynasty, Rich. And, Andy Reid, too, great coach. I wonder if they win the Super Bowl if Andy Reid retires and Belichick takes over. You never know. All these rumors about Belichick going around. But the defense played great. And like I said, Jackson fumbled. He had the interception. Zay Flowers. So 3 turnovers. I mean, you can't turn the ball over, and you're playing in your home stadium too, Rich. The fans are making noise, and Mahomes didn't crack under one bit. He had 2 playoff games on the road. He never played on the road before. 2 playoff games on the road, and He played great in those 2 games. So
He has literally, in his first 6 years in this league right now, going on 7, he has literally done everything there is to do when it comes to crunch time. They said, "Oh, you won all those playoff games at home. Oh yeah, watch me go into Baltimore, and watch me win on the road. And now look where I'm going. I'm in Baltimore. I'm going to the Super Bowl right now. And it's he just like just listen to this 1 second. This is his first. This is 6 years, dude. In 2018, he threw for 50 touchdowns, dude. That's his second season. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion, 2018 Player of the Year, 2 MVPs, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, 2-time Player of the Year. I mean, this is 6 years. Tom Brady in his first 6 years, whatever. But 2007, if you look at Tom Brady, 2007, where not that it just clicked, but Tom Brady became Tom Brady in 2007. That's when he had the 50 touchdowns. The year that was the the undefeated almost season. So I mean, we're witnessing somebody that I think Tom Brady's the greatest football quarterback ever. And I'm really trying to think that Mahomes gives me 1 or 2 more years like he's doing now. If he wins the Super Bowl this year, there's going to be talk like, holy, if this guy does it for another 5 or 6 more years, he's going to be the greatest football player ever, dude, ever.
Yeah, no doubt.
In a league too, where the athletes are faster and stronger. And listen, you guys can say what you want. Some quarterbacks get calls or whatever. Everybody says he does, but I don't think he gets as many calls as people. He's not listen, he bitched about that other thing with Kadarius Toney. It is what it is, but I don't think he gets as many calls as everybody calls him a baby for. I don't think he does.
Yeah, no, and the Ravens are blaming the refs too for losing. But like I said, you turn the ball over 3 times against Pat Mahomes. The one thing about the Chiefs, though, they don't finish the games. They don't play the second half, and that might be an Achilles heel against the 49ers. We've seen the Chiefs, even in the gambling world, the Chiefs play to the under every second half. It seems like that. It's like money in the bank. So if you're betting on the Super Bowl, bet under Chiefs in the second half. But yeah, so they didn't score in the second half. They shut Baltimore down. That's what they've been doing all along. Look what they did to the Bills, Rich. They didn't let the Bills score in the fourth quarter. We saw that field goal, that go, woof, somebody turned on the fan. But, it just seemed they have that. They didn't have that defense in the past, but they have the defense. So they're like an all-around team. You got Harrison Butker, who can't miss a field goal either. He's like automatic. You know what? I think they're going to win Super Bowl. We'll break down the other game, but I think they're going to win the Super Bowl again, Rich. And I know America doesn't like it, but it is what it is. I mean, it's
and the crazy part about it is, like, somebody said that the other day. Oh, I'm just sick of the Chiefs and I'm sick of Pat Mahomes. And Tom Brady said it best a couple of years ago. If you're sick of us, beat us. That's like, if it's like, that's fine, and look, all these people talk about the NFL being fixed. I can't even fill my head with that bullshit right now, man. That's such a
it's not fixed because they said the Super Bowl logo determines the teams.
My wife was all over that, dude. My wife was all over the purple and the red and conspiracy. Yeah. You know how many people would have to be involved for the NFL to be fixed? I don't know.
Well, Rich, I was like, oh, the red? The Buccaneers wear red, right? So I thought they were saying, oh, it's going to be the Buccaneers and the Ravens this year. It's like, oh boy. And then you got 2 red teams playing. So, they lit up the Empire State Building in the team's colors, and it's the exact same color. The guy didn't have to change it. Just the antenna was like red for the 49ers and white for the Chiefs, whatever. But
listen, and that didn't bother me. The only reason it bothered me, we had a big fight about this last year. I said it bothered me because it was the Eagles. It didn't bother me because it was a different city. We had this conversation last year on this show. I remember.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it was pretty. It got into a big argument and stuff like that. But they do it every year. So but
I think just to talk about Pat Mahomes just for one more second, I think he literally goes on that field every single game and knows he's going to win the football game. And I'm not in a cocky way, just like he knows that he's going to figure it out. Like he knows he's not going to go out there and win the game by 7 touchdowns and the other team's going to score nothing. He just knows that he's going to figure it out. Give me the ball. That's it. How many minutes? We got 1 minute and 30 seconds left. Just give me the ball. I'm going to get you for a field goal, or I'm going to do something, and what, I know we made a joke before about Travis Kelce, but what the fuck happened to Travis Kelce the other day, dude? He was possessed the other day, dude. But he didn't drop a ball. He was talking junk the entire time to the people that were tackling him.
You saw what he did with the helmet, right? You saw what he did with Justin Tucker, the kicker's helmet before the game. They were warming up, and Tucker was he was like on the 5-yard line. So he took his helmet and threw it. He said, "We're trying to practice here," basically, and stuff. So but yeah, he was possessed on Sunday. He really didn't have a great season at all. But even in the Buffalo game, he played pretty well. But what do you have? He had like 12, 13 catches this past weekend, right?
Yeah, he was on fire. It's and again, maybe that's just that different gear that Kelsey and Mahomes get to.
Well, are we kind of seeing like Brady and Gronk?
Yeah, yes, we are. That's the thing. We are seeing.
But the problem is, how many more years does Kelsey have? How many more years does Kelsey have?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, but that's exactly what we're witnessing. You know what I mean? It's like there's no other combination that you could think about. Like,
no.
I mean, listen, there's great combinations. Like Shannon Sharp had his.
So Rich, he's their number one receiver. Basically, he's a tight end, but he's number one receiver.
I know.
You could have made the argument for you could have made Tyreek Hill.
Right.
I said Devontae Adams more. I'm sorry. I mean Tyreek Hill. That's what I meant. You could have made the argument for Tyreek Hill being the number one, Kelsey, but now Kelsey's number one, basically. So.
Now, do you think that Tyreek Hill is so full of himself? So do you think he's that person that he just like screw the Chiefs? So he's like, wow, man, I should have just stayed there.
Yeah, I don't know. He had the chance to beat him, Rich. They played him, right? He had the chance to get there.
Like, could you imagine like mature 6 year in the league, almost 7 Mahomes with Tyreek Hill as his fucking wide receiver, dude? Are you serious? Like
crazy.
It would be he might get 3,000 yards.
Well, this kid Rice is a pretty good receiver. He's not Chuck Weaver.
He's not Tyreek Hill. You know what I mean?
And of course,
that was just Pacheco, right?
From New Jersey, local kid, went to Rutgers. So yeah.
We're going to talk about the other game in a second, but I think like it's the Pat Mahomes effect. I think with the offense, it's like Pat Mahomes makes those receivers look really good, in which I do think that on the other hand, like we're going to talk about this other team in a second. Like you have a double-edged sword there. Is Brock Purdy a good quarterback, or does he have the most ridiculous offense ever? You know what I mean? We'll talk about that in a second, but
yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think when you talk about it in that perspective, I think Pat Mahomes definitely makes his team better as opposed to the opposite. You know what I mean? Because again, everybody's like, oh, he's got no receivers. I'll make this little guy number 4. Like, he's got good hands. Boom. He was hitting all different types of receivers this year.
Yeah. They got a couple other tight ends too, besides Kelsey that get the ball. So they got a pretty good offense, the Chiefs too. They're not chopped liver. Don't write them off. But right. It was a good game. And like I said, both of us agree, the legend of Mahomes continues basically.
Yes, he does.
Remember when he broke his helmet in the Miami game where he broke his helmet and stuff?
Yeah.
But it was crazy. But he I don't know. Hats off, Andy Reid, great coach, a legend. He'll be in the Hall of Fame as well.
There's already video of him limping back onto the field last year during the Bills or whatever when he hurt his ankle, like limping back onto the field and throwing a touchdown. Kelsey, it's like
crazy.
Anything you could think of for a highlight or a performance or he's Super Bowl MVP. I think the guy has done everything. He's 20. Was it 26? Is he 26, 28? He's done everything. Now he's got to do everything twice, you know what I mean? Or 3 times MVP. He's got to do something. Like how come? Look, I understand, but if you look at the numbers, the comparative, like how does Pat Mahomes not say, you know what? Sorry, Lamar. Like look what Pat Mahomes did to you. You're the MVP. Like I don't know. Like how do you know what I mean? But it's regular season. I get it. But he showed him up.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, yeah. The Ravens looked like they were in a team basically at the end of the game. They looked like that one play, the personal foul where I guess the guy's name, I forget who it was, Queen who jumped offside to, and Tony Romo was saying, he had to do that play to get them the 1st and 10 instead of the 1st and 5. But he knocked the guy down and stuff. So there were some cheap plays by the Ravens in this game, basically, and they were trying. Their game plan was to knock Mahomes out of the game. They were headhunters in that game.
Yeah, right. You're absolutely right. You know why? Did you see that when Mahomes got smacked, like literally smacked in the face, dude?
You saw that, right?
Yeah, dude. That was fine. He didn't complain about that, dude.
And I'm sorry because I think Harbaugh, he wouldn't advocate that, but it looks like that was the game plan for the Ravens to knock Mahomes out of the game because you knock Mahomes out of the game, you're gonna win the game.
That big 98 man, he literally punched Mahomes in the face.
Yeah, Roquan Smith, is that?
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah.
Jeez. Now this next game here. Now, how do you feel personally as a football fan about this next game?
I got visions, Rich, of the Falcons Patriots Super Bowl. The Falcons were up 28-3, and the Patriots come back and win. I think the Lions had this game in their back pocket. The Lions came out right away. They scored. They played great and stuff, but it's just that damn system in San Francisco. You just can't beat it. And it's a combination of things. It's the coaching of Detroit as well. I know you want to talk about that, but I think Dan Campbell. It's great when you coach like that during the season, but when you don't have a tomorrow and the playoffs are on the line and your franchise's first trip to the Super Bowl ever, I think you got to play a little more conservative. And he didn't do that. And the whole country saw the Lions just choke basically.
You know what though? He also the only thing at the end of the day, he owned it though. You know what I mean? Like I guess
he did own it. He did own it, but he owned it. But why did you do it? That's the question. And we see
Eric, and that's just one of those things.
We've seen in the Cowboys game where he didn't go for the extra point. He went for the 2-point conversion to actually win the game. I mean, I understand you play in the regular season. It's all fun and games, but there's no tomorrow, Rich. You got to kick that field goal with 3 minutes left. You get 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning, and he didn't want to do that.
Like I said, I always hate to say it, but what happens if that kid doesn't drop that football?
Yeah, there's a lot of things, even
it's like genius.
Right.
Oh, look at how tough he is going for
it. Even when he went for the field goal before the half, though, he could have gone for the touchdown there, right? It's kind of you know what, Rich? Analytics are killing all sports because what analytics do is you go by analytics, but you lose all fundamentals of the sport, basically.
You're right. And you're right. You're out. You just hit the nail on the head. Analytics said to go for it there.
I hate it. You ever see on TV, it's 4th down and 4 on the 46. Analytics say you have to go for it. When we were kids, Rich, 4th down and 4 on the 46, you're punting basically, right?
Yeah, that was, you know what? That was rough. And I think the only thing, like you said, he owned it. And I guess, I don't know. You're right. It's the Detroit Lions, man. It's like, I feel so bad for that fan base, dude. I really do. Like, you got to feel for that fan base. Like, I've never in my life seen a Super Bowl with the New York Jets. 55 years since they've actually won it. But I could say that we won one Super Bowl, but they just, poor Barry Sanders. How do you think Barry Sanders felt, dude? He's probably like, oh my God, I'm going to get to go to Vegas. I'm going to sit in the box and watch the Detroit Lions. Maybe they'll let me suit up. Maybe they'll sign me for one-day contract.
I saw somebody say that. They said, well, I guess if they sign him, they can cut the kicker because they don't use kickers. So Barry Sanders can get the kicker spot. But yeah, it's crazy. You would think, Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, all the ghosts of Detroit, George Plimpton, the author, Paper Tiger, whatever, he wrote that book.
And that city, dude, needs something. Like you said, New York's a shithole right now. It's terrible, but we got a lot of Detroit has nothing going on over there right now. It's such a you got the Tigers, Pistons, the Lions now, the Red Wings. There's nothing going on, but you got. I'm just talking like economically, dude. Like the fan base goes to those football games for like hope, but even like economically, like Detroit is just like in the worst place right now, dude. Actually, when I went to Detroit in 2019 before COVID, though, it looked pretty good. They had a renaissance going on. Rich, we were in the area of Ford Field and stuff, and it looked pretty safe over there. And then we went to get some of that Detroit style pizza at the famous Buddy's restaurant. And there was a security guard watching the cars in the parking lot. So, it's just night and day. But Eric, my buddy went there. If you extend past those little, like that little square area with the stadiums and stuff, you don't want to go. You don't want to go a half a block past that. Thank God I didn't take the wrong street walking. Yeah, and again, all those, like everybody, like, the people in the bad neighborhoods, the good neighborhoods, they're all from Detroit and they're their team. And then they just go and they just, oh my God. Well, University of Michigan, though, they have Michigan to fall back on, win the college championship and stuff, right? So, yeah, but that's not the same. Yeah, I know. Eminem was giving the finger to 49er fans. It's Eminem, the anti-Taylor Swift, giving the finger. Oh, yeah. Taylor Swift's dancing, Eminem's giving the finger. Could you imagine a Detroit Lions and Chiefs Super Bowl with Taylor Swift and Eminem? Oh, my God. Wow, they should just do the halftime show together. Jeez. But then, though, all kidding aside, though, Rich, I was never a big fan of Brock Purdy, and I'm still not a big fan of Brock Purdy because Brock Purdy
came into a job, say like if you start a job in a corporation, you sit right down, you get this big corner office, and they give you $250,000 to do filing, whatever. I mean, Brock Purdy came into the best situation a quarterback could ever come into. Look at that team, Rich. They're stocked. They got Deebo Samuel, McCaffrey, Ayuk, Kittle. They're just stocked on offense, Rich. You can't take away any. They and their defense too. Chase Young almost got benched. You know that, right?
For what?
For the Super Bowl, they might not play him because he was playing lackadaisical. They said they might not play him in the Super Bowl. Yeah. It came out today, but
I'm gonna beat the shit out of him in the locker room.
But their defense is pretty good too, Rich. But just that comeback alone, it just doesn't 24-7. And the last time when they played, it was the other way around, where the 49ers had a 24-7 lead over Detroit, 1957 championship, and Detroit came back and won that. So that's kind of ironic how that worked out, the same score where both teams came back. But yeah, Detroit had that game in their back pocket. I mean, I was hoping they would win and stuff like that. But you know what though? They still covered plus 7.5. So
yeah, but I don't think that's going to
be Dan Campbell. Thank you, Dan. So Dan Campbell, his coaching style, Rich, we don't see too many NFL coaches like that.
I like it. I like his, like, he's not even like, I wouldn't even call it in your face, because it's not like in your face being a dick. It's like in your face being like that guy. Did you see him lining up with the linebackers a couple weeks ago at practice doing nutcrackers with no equipment on? That's like, that guy, you know what? And listen, he did what he did. He's not going to say, like I said, he shouldn't have done it, I guess, but he's standing on it that he did. And he even said it. He goes, it's going to be, you think it was hard to get here this year? It's like, it's going to be twice as hard to do it next year. So he knows what he's got. He knows that it's not going to be easy. He knows that we may not even see this again.
They got a good team, Rich, though. I think they're going to be back.
They do.
Yeah.
But you just brought up like that. You just brought up a good point. Like a question I was going to ask you is like, you look at every single slot on that San Francisco 49ers offense, okay? Even down to number 44. You see that catch that
they finally utilized it.
Whatever his name is made.
Yep.
Now,
Usyk,
every
right?
single slot on that San Francisco 49ers offense is filled by somebody who just kicks ass. And down to the offensive line. George Kittle, okay? Let's go with him first, tight end. That guy you watch him, he mangles people on the offensive line. He hits hard and then bang, off to the races. Have you seen, what's his name? The guy from Cleveland maybe run. He's pretty fast. But have you ever seen anybody besides the guy from Cleveland faster than Kittle when he's running down the sidelines with that football, dude?
You mean tight ends?
No, tight ends. I'm saying tight ends.
Oh, you mean Njoku on the Browns, right? That's
what from Cleveland, who just like he's lightning fast. But Kittle looks like a gazelle. And then how would you like to be over there deciding if you need to double cover Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk? Like, what kind of – then you got, bring the safety. Yeah, okay, so Deebo Samuel is going to murder you. Okay, so he's double covered. Now he's going to do an end around, and he's going to run for 60 yards.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you got an offensive line who opens up holes the size of the Lincoln Tunnel. I mean, is Brock Purdy – like, I know what you just said about Brock Purdy, but I have zero confidence that if you put Zach Wilson in that same position, I don't think that he'd be going to the Super Bowl right now with that team. I think there's got to be something to Brock Purdy being a good quarterback. I mean, he's throwing the ball on the money. It's not like Deebo Samuel is jumping 9 feet in the air to catch the football. He's catching the ball, thrown to him. He's getting the ball to him. You know what I mean? He's handed the ball off correct. He's getting Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is. Do you ever watch him run when he that second? You always see that second speed that he has.
Yeah.
And that burst of power, and it's like you see it in him. It's like when he is healthy, I don't think there's anybody in professional football as a running back that's better than him when he's healthy.
Yeah, he puts it in gear, really. He really, like I said, it's a well-oiled machine, that 49ers offense. I think we're in for a good Super Bowl. I don't know, high scoring, low scoring. It's hard to gauge. These games, the guys come out under pressure sometimes, and they don't really start playing to like the second half. A lot of pressure on these two teams, but these two teams were in it. They played each other a couple of years ago, so they shouldn't be. A lot of these guys have the Super Bowl experience. Brock Purdy doesn't, of course, but Mahomes. We know Mahomes' Super Bowl experience and stuff, and Kelsey and unless you're the Buccaneers, who you gotta follow what the Buccaneers did, held with the 3 field goals. So that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good game. I'm I'm gonna pick the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs have just the Pat Mahomes. I was gonna say narrative. Based, and the Kelsey Mahomes could be Kelsey's last game. We don't know, but I think just that narrative alone, I think the Chiefs win the game. Hopefully, a close game.
I think I'm gonna have to do that too, man. I think I'm gonna have to go with the. I'm definitely gonna have to go. I think I'm gonna have to go with the Chiefs. I don't know. Maybe I might change my mind. I haven't changed my mind all year, but I might change my mind the next week or two. But just Pat Mahomes in general is gonna put it to bed for me. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, you could change your mind. Mahomes might eat some bad sushi or something like that. Get food poisoning or something. Still go out there and throw for 400 yards though, right?
I know. All righty, it's getting late here, dude. Anything else you want to go over?
Yeah, it's getting late. I want to turn to some NBA and see if Joel Embiid's playing or Joel M fraud, like they say, because I turned on the game Saturday. I was watching some NBA. I did everything around the house: vacuumed, cleaned, cooked. Got down. Denver's playing Philadelphia. Great. Game starts at 5:00. 4:55. I get a notification on my phone. Joel Embiid's sitting out today. Joel Embiid doesn't like playing the Denver Nuggets for some reason.
See again, it's just another reason why the NBA is just losing fans. I don't know, man. That's not cool, dude.
Nope.
I know it's not. It's I don't know. I could go on that rant again, like we've always gone on, but that's not cool, man. You're the MVP of the league. Come on, dude. What are you doing?
And then it came out today where the 76ers are playing the Warriors tonight, and Embiid might play. Why? Because Draymond Green, you don't want to play against Draymond Green. But yeah, I think he's going to play tonight. But it just doesn't make sense. But I just saw Georgia Tech is beating North Carolina 61-57. North Carolina, the third-ranked team in the country. So that's a big upset on the 7 minutes left in the game. The live sports as we go on here. It just caught my eye. But yeah, getting back to Embiid, it's like, he wants to be MVP, Rich, but he doesn't want to play the big games. So if you don't play the big games, how can you get the MVP, right?
No. You could score 30. You could average 36 points a game to 6 seeds and below. That's fine. Yep. You know what? Go against Celtics. Play these games, bro.
It's like Aaron Judge saying, "Oh, I want to sit down. I don't want to face Yamamoto today, or I don't want to face Scherzer or whatever." That would be the same type of thing.
I've never. All right, you know what though? Now you got me going here for a second. Let's compare Joel Embiid to somebody in football. Okay, Joel Embiid. Okay, it's hard to compare a basketball player to a quarterback. So let's call Joel Embiid George Kittle. How about that? Let's call him George Kittle. Okay. Sure. What if George Kittle woke up one morning and just didn't like the kind of scheme that Detroit was playing? He kind of just called up the coach and says, "Coach, I don't know, man. I'm just not feeling it today, man." He's like, "I don't know. I got a wind of like what scheme they were playing. Like, I don't think I'm going to be able to, to play against that type of scheme. So I think I'm just going to sit out tonight. Just tell him I have a headache or something." Could you imagine if a football player did that, dude?
You never see.
I understand it's 82 games to 16. But could you imagine that?
You never see a football player do that, Rich. You never do.
No. Because you know what, though? I think, although I do think there might be maybe a handful of players in the NFL that maybe do feel that way and maybe think they want to sit out. But I think that it's such a testosterone male driven that you never say that. Because if you said that, the entire team would be all over you like flies on shit, and you would. It would not go over well.
The only time you see it is when week 18, when the players want rest if they're making the playoffs, and they the coach sits them out or something. That's the only time you see it. But yeah, you'll see it in baseball where a guy wants to take a day off, but then they might put him at DH. You never know. But basketball. Last
time I checked, the NBA is only about a quarter, a little bit past. They're into their season now. It's like,
it's almost the All-Star break. Yeah, this is where it starts now, where they start sitting the guys down and stuff. But you got to give credit. LeBron keeps on playing though, Rich. You got to give him credit.
Whatever. I don't know. Maybe at some point this year I'll give him credit for something. I don't know. I'll figure out what it is. But stop thinking you Michael Jordan.
Speaking about basketball, one more announcement I should have said in the beginning, but I got a text today from the Fishkill Rec, and they said that the MUEF and EDUBBS show is cordially invited to Championship Saturday.
That is fantastic news because I had a really, really good time the last.
I RSVP'd, and it's going to be either March 16th or if there's snow, March 23rd. So mark it on your calendar there, buddy.
All righty, I will. All right, dude.
Great.
So let's, like I said, it's getting late. I'm going to get to, it's almost 9 o'clock. So, hey, thanks for coming on tonight and shooting the shit. And,
nice Tuesday show, right? We did about an hour and 15 minutes. Yeah, not bad.
going over, we settled our dispute about Joe Mauer. You gave me a little bit, but I still, whatever. I still think the Hall of Fame is the Hall of Fame. All righty. So listen, I'll talk to you this week. And, next time you want to, let me know when you want to get another show and I'll put it out there. And
we'll have to do a Super Bowl preview as we approach the big game.
Exactly.
And like I say, the big game, Rich, because if you put Super Bowl out there, you might get sued. So that's for commercial reasons if you put Super Bowl out there. So I'll just say that.
Why?
So if you go to your local pizzeria tomorrow and you see they're having a Super Bowl special, tell them to put the big game special because the NFL will get you.
No way. Is that true?
Hey, it's a trademarked word. It was trademarked in 1969, but it's more serious now because the NFL wants every bit of money. So yeah.
Oh my God. They made whatever. $9 billion after they paid the locker room attendants.
Well, you know who else does this though? You know who else? Disney too. Disney wants their money too. Disney's gonna come after you too. It's Disney and the NFL, two of the biggest corporations that will sue your ass off if you do them wrong.
You know what? That's right. Kanye West is right. I'm leaving, dude.
I'm going to bed.
All right, brother. It's good talking to you. I'll talk to you during the week, all right?
Good show, buddy. Take care. Have a good one, pal.
Have a good one, brother.
Go Chiefs.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And go Hall of Fame.